Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Many of us think we're broken, we're lazy, or too emotional. But what if none of that is true? What if you're simply carrying stories you were too young to understand? This isn't about fixing yourself. It's about learning to love the parts of you that were never allowed to be. Part 1. The origin of the wound. Most of what hurts us today didn't start today. So much of our emotional pain isn't new. It's remembered. It began years ago in rooms we barely remember, with people who maybe never meant to hurt us. Yet somehow they did. It didn't have to be something big like abuse or trauma. Often, it was something quiet, a moment you cried and someone told you to stop. A time you were scared and were met with "don't be silly," or when your joy was ignored because it came at the wrong time. Maybe you learned early that love had conditions, that you were praised when you achieved, not when you simply existed, that you had to smile even when you were breaking inside. These moments stitched themselves into the fabric of who you believed you had to be, until slowly you forgot how to simply be. You began to carry these beliefs without knowing. I am lovable only if I'm perfect. If I rest, I'm lazy. If I cry, I'm weak. But what if these beliefs are not yours, but something you inherited? What if they were survival skills you learned, not because they were right, but because they were necessary? Can you recall a moment as a child when you needed comfort, but felt alone instead? Part 2. Who is the inner child? There's a child inside you that never disappeared. Not lost, not gone. Just quieter, softer, tucked away in the corners of your heart where the world couldn't reach. The inner child is not a symbol. It is the emotional memory of your younger self. Alive, breathing, and still longing. It shows up not when you're strong and steady, but when you feel afraid or uncertain or small again. That soft part of you still flinches when love feels distant, still freezes when someone raises their voice, still waits, hopes that one day someone will see them and say, "You don't have to earn love. You already are." You might not hear this child clearly, but they speak in your reactions. That sudden panic when someone doesn't text back. That ache when you feel rejected or not enough. The way you avoid conflict even when you have every right to speak. The drive to be perfect so no one ever leaves. These aren't your flaws. These are echoes. Soft, sacred messages from a version of you that needed safety. Imagine for a moment a 6-year-old version of you hiding behind your adult voice. They whisper not with words, but with longing. Please, don't let them leave me. Part 3. Storytelling. The strong woman who never cried. She was always the strong one. The one who never flinched, never wavered, never let a tear fall when others were falling apart. People came to her with their pain, grief, heartbreak, fear, and she would listen, nod, offer calm, wise words, even when her own heart was screaming in silence. She held others when they broke, but no one ever thought to ask if she was okay. Her strength became her mask, her silence her armor, and one day, in a quiet moment, her partner looked at her and said, "You're always so logical. Do you even feel anything?" That one question, gentle, almost offhand, shattered her more than any storm ever had. Not because of what was said, but because of what it touched. A forgotten memory, long buried in the soft dust of childhood. She was 5, crying in the corner, and her father stood above her, saying firmly, "Stop crying. Be a big girl." That was the moment she learned. Feelings aren't safe. Emotions push love away. So she learned to hide them, fold them in like secrets, tuck them beneath her spine like armor. And the world praised her for it, for being so mature, so strong, so dependable. But inside, she was a child still waiting for someone to say, "You don't have to hide anymore." So many of us are like her. We became who we needed to be to feel safe. We adapted not out of strength, but out of longing. So let me ask you gently, how many parts of you were shaped by what you had to hide to feel loved. Part 4. Understanding the defense. It's easy to believe there's something wrong with us. Too much, too sensitive, too distant, not enough. But often what we see as flaws are really just adaptations. What we call personality is, in many ways, our way of staying safe in a world that once felt unsafe. Maybe your hyper-independence isn't pride, but a quiet fear. If I need too much, they'll leave. Perhaps your perfectionism isn't drive, but a silent plea. Will someone finally see me if I do this just right? That habit of always being the funny one. Maybe it's not just charm. Maybe it's your way of deflecting pain before it can settle. These ways of being, the independence, the control, the humor, they weren't mistakes. They were strategies. They were shields. They were the best we could do with what we had in the moments we needed to survive. But the same shields that kept us safe can also become the walls that keep love out. We grow older, but the defenses stay. We build lives around them, and then we wonder, why does love feel so far away, even when we're surrounded by people? Carl Jung once wrote, "Neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering." What did he mean? He meant that our patterns, our defenses, are trying to protect us from a deeper pain we haven't yet been able to hold. So the neurosis, the anxiety, the control, the withdrawal, isn't the enemy, it's a substitute. It's the body saying, I can't face that pain, but maybe I can survive this version of it. And survival, that's what you've done beautifully. But maybe it's time to look at the walls, gently, with compassion, not to tear them down, but to ask why they were built. Because behind every defense, there is a wound, and behind every wound is a longing. Part 5. You are not broken. There comes a moment in the journey when you stop asking, what's wrong with me? And begin asking, what happened to me? Let's drop the heavy shame of being too sensitive, too emotional, not strong enough. Those were never your flaws. You're not defective. You're not weak. You're not failing. You're doing exactly what you were taught to do to survive. And you did it so well that it became part of you. You were told to hold it in, so you did. You were told not to cry, so you didn't. You were told to be strong, so you wore armor. But the armor wasn't you. It was just the only way you knew how to stay safe. You're not failing. You're remembering. Every emotional wave you feel is not a breakdown. It's not regression. It's not you losing it. It's your body, your soul, saying, look here, this part of you needs love. That sadness? It's a doorway. That anger? A flare saying, I'm here. I've been hurt. That anxiety? A whisper, please don't forget me. Healing doesn't begin with pushing these parts away. It begins when you say, I see you. You make sense. Acceptance is the beginning, not judgment, not fixing, not shaming yourself for still hurting. You don't have to become someone new. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of healing. You just have to remember what's been buried beneath all the survival. Because you are not broken. You are remembering. Part 6. Reparenting. Becoming the parent you needed. Sometimes, the healing we're looking for doesn't come from fixing ourselves, but from finally giving ourselves the love we needed all along. Reparenting is not a concept. It's a quiet revolution. It's learning to become the gentle, safe presence you always wished was there. It begins with one brave question, whispered in stillness. What did I need as a child that I still long for now? Maybe you needed someone who believed in you, even when you doubted yourself. Maybe you needed someone who told you, it's okay to rest. You don't have to earn your worth. Maybe, just maybe, you needed someone to hold you when you were messy, lost, scared, and simply say, you're enough. You can give that to yourself now. You can say the words no one else did. You can learn to speak gently to yourself when you fail. To say, that was hard, and I'm still here with you. Even 5 minutes a day. Close your eyes. Place your hand on your heart. And ask softly, what do I feel? Instead of judging your feelings, you meet them. You meet yourself. You become the one who listens, and in that meeting, healing begins. Not with solutions, but with presence. Not with fixing, but with seeing. Say to yourself what a gentle parent would say to a hurting child. I see you. I'm here for you. I won't leave. That is reparenting. Not a perfect formula, but a sacred relationship with the part of you that waited years to be seen. Part 7. The joy we forgot. Healing is often thought of as a journey through pain, as if the only way to mend is to unravel every hurt and carry it carefully. But what we sometimes forget is that healing also means rediscovering joy. The pure, unburdened joy that once lit up our days without any reason at all. Can you remember the sound of your own laughter when you were small, so free and full, as if the world was simply a playground made for delight? What games pulled you into their magic, where time slipped away and nothing else mattered but the moment unfolding between your hands and heart? What was it that made your heart race with excitement, that brought lightness to your body and a sparkle to your eyes, so that even the simplest things became miracles? When was the last time you did something, not because you had to, not for anyone else's approval, but simply because it made your spirit sing and your soul feel alive? To reconnect with that part of ourselves, the part that laughs, that plays, that marvels at the ordinary as extraordinary, is a kind of healing that opens the heart wide enough to hold both pain and joy without judgment. The inner child is not only the keeper of our wounds, but also the guardian of our deepest capacity for joy, wonder, and lightness, reminding us that we are alive not only to survive, but to truly live. This joy is not separate from healing. It is its companion. It's light that softens the shadows and invites the heart to remember how to feel whole again. So ask yourself, with kindness and curiosity, what brings me joy? When do I feel most alive? And let that be part of your healing journey, not as a destination, but as a sacred practice of returning home to yourself. Because the path to wholeness isn't only about facing what hurts. It's also about reclaiming the laughter, the wonder, and the joy that were always there, waiting patiently inside you. You are not too much. No matter how loud your feelings are, no matter how deeply you carry your fears or your dreams, you are not too much for this world, nor for the people who truly see you. You are not broken, even if pieces of your story feel fragile or unfinished. Every crack, every scar is a pathway through which your light enters, making you whole in ways unseen but deeply true. You are not behind anyone else on the path of healing or growth. Your journey moves at its own sacred pace, flowing like a river that knows exactly where it needs to go, even if it bends and turns in quiet mystery. You are healing in your own time. Each breath you take, each moment of self-kindness, every tear and every smile are part of the gentle unfolding of your true self emerging from within. Every time you pause to feel what is alive inside you, without judgment or rush, you create a sacred space where the child inside can breathe and be seen, embraced just as they are, tender and real. Every time you speak kindly to yourself, with words that soothe rather than wound, you build a bridge of love and trust between your past and present, inviting healing to flow freely through your heart. Every time you choose softness over self-criticism, you rewrite the story your inner child has been waiting to hear, one where they are safe, cherished, and deeply enough just as they are. And in those moments, you whisper to that child within, softly but clearly, "You're safe now. You're held. You are loved beyond measure." This is the true healing, the quiet knowing that you are never alone, that you are always worthy, and that your journey toward wholeness is the most beautiful gift you can give yourself. So as you carry this message in your heart, may you move forward gently, with patience and love, honoring the child within who has waited so long to be seen and to be free. If this message touched a part of you that's been quietly waiting to be heard, to be seen, consider sharing it with someone who might also carry that same silent longing. So together, healing can ripple softly outward like light across still water. What did your inner child love doing the most? Was it running barefoot in the grass? Or maybe drawing with bright colors that spilled beyond the lines? Leave a comment and share a piece of your story, because every gentle memory is a step toward healing. And when we share, we begin that journey together. For more soft reminders to reconnect with yourself, to hold your heart with kindness, and to walk gently on this path of growth and healing. Subscribe and stay close. You are never alone on this journey, and every step forward is a light in the darkness.